I get the question about the rent-to-own options on a weekly basis, so I thought I'd make a video about it, highlighting the pros and cons, the challenges and risks about the option. Hi friends, welcome back. If we've not met yet, my name is Mary Howard and I'm a realtor in the great Queen City, Charlotte, North Carolina. Very nice to meet you. And on this channel, I provide educational content for buyers and sellers who are buying and selling in the Charlotte, North Carolina region. Most of the rent-to-own agreements fall into two categories. You have your lease option and you have your lease purchase. They are exactly what they suggest. A lease option is an agreement that gives the tenant buyer a choice to purchase the rented property during or at the end of the rental period. It also stops the landlord owner from offering the property for sale to anyone else. When the term expires, the tenant buyer must either exercise that option or forfeit. There is no legal obligation, and most of the time the home price is predetermined. A lease purchase contract is issued in two parts. You have the lease terms and you have the contract of sale. The lease is where the buyer tenant and the owner landlord agree to the lease rent terms, which includes how much is the rent going to be and for how long. You'll also be deciding and negotiating on what each party will be responsible for. So if the water heater goes out or the toilet floods, who's responsible for fixing those things? The contract will also specify the amount of option fee, and that usually is between 5 to 10% of the purchase price, and then how much, if any, of the monthly rent will go towards the down payment or the purchase price. This would be the equivalent of a due diligence fee in a typical transaction, and this is non-refundable. Check down in the descriptions below for a link to watch this video explaining all about due diligence fee. At the end of the lease, the option fee and any portion of the monthly rent will be credited to the tenant buyer if they decide to proceed with the purchase of the home. If the tenant buyer does not or is unable to purchase the home, the option fee and all the rent monies is kept by the landlord owner and the contract is void. So the pros to these types of real estate transactions are: if you are in a lease option, renting to own allows you to test drive the home, the neighborhood, the commute, while you save for your down payment. You get to check out if you're really okay living in a two-level home, and what is that maintenance of that home? Is it more than you expected? The second pro is being able to lock in a purchase price of a home when the market prices are going up. It gives you a peace of mind to know that when you're ready to purchase that home, it will be at that specific price and you will be able to afford the home. The third pro is if the landlord owner is willing to allow a portion of your rent to go towards the price, it's definitely going to make it easier for you to get a better rate on the mortgage in the long run. This one is a pro and a con. If the owner landlord will be crediting a portion of your rent to the down payment or the purchase price, then that landlord owner will probably insist on your rent being 8 to 10% higher than the market average. That sounds like a lot, but on a property that's $2,000 a month rent, 10% more would be $200 more that you'd be paying, a total of $2,200 a month. Assuming that $200 a month of that would go towards your purchase price a month, then in 12 months time, you would have accumulated $2,400 in addition to your option fee. So jury's out. Is it a pro or is it a con? The second disadvantage is most of the time these types of contracts usually end up being where the tenant buyer is required to maintain the home. So if anything breaks or needs to be replaced, it'll fall on the buyer tenant. And depending on the property, that could be very expensive and a big unexpected cost. The third disadvantage: if you get into a rent-to-own contract without speaking to a loan officer to begin with, or you don't stay in touch with your loan officer throughout your contracted term period, you may find yourself unable to qualify for a mortgage at the end of your lease. With the interest rates going up, what you could qualify for today may not be the same thing that you can qualify for in 12, 18, 24 months, depending on those rates. If that is the case, then you would lose all of your upfront option money in addition to not being able to purchase the home. Rent-to-own contracts should benefit both the buyer and the seller. Both sides should carefully negotiate the deal specific to their individual needs. This is ultimately still the largest purchase any of us make, so the negotiation and having people in your corner to help you through the process is going to be crucial. If you think rent-to-own is your best entry into the housing market, you will need a team to help you out. They should be your real estate attorney, your home inspector, and your lender. Consult a real estate attorney. It's smart to let the experts read over the agreement. Make sure that you're protected and that you understand what you must do to fulfill your side of the contract. Get a home inspection, especially if you're assuming some of the maintenance costs during the rent-to-own period, but also for the longer range peace of mind. Meet with your lender, make sure that they understand what you are trying to do. Make sure that they have all of the terms and make sure you stay in contact with them. If anything changes, they are going to need to be updated to make sure that you do not lose your option money and are able to purchase the home at the end of your term. A little pro tip, ask the seller for a residential property disclosure. In the state of North Carolina, one of these documents are mandatory for every sale of every home. And I refer to this document as the report card for the home. You should know as much as possible about this property for both the present and the future. This is a very general outline of the rent-to-own process, and this is geared more specifically to the landlord owner that you already have a working relationship with. There are companies in North Carolina that can purchase the home for you with cash. You then become a tenant in that home when your lease term expires, and you then proceed to purchase the home from them. If you would like more information, my contact info is below. Feel free to call, text, or email me. If you found any value to this video, would you mind hitting that thumbs up button for me? Thank you for watching. Again, my name is Mary Howard, and this is There's No Place Like Home NC. Take care.